Hey everybody, this is my video on a tutorial for DC branching. Have you ever seen all the top players in comp lobbies, overall, just whenever they branch, their controller is just DC, and you think it looks really cool and you want to learn? Well, in this video I'm going to teach you how you can DC branch like a pro. So a big thing when it comes with DC branching is your controllers. So for example, there's the normal Quest controllers for Quest 2 or your standard Quest controller. But what would really help with DC branching and DCing your controller would be called extended grips. Extended grips basically make your controllers longer, so your controllers will DC easier, like when you hit hard. But for this video, we'll do the tutorial without grips or any extended thing to help your controllers. So it'll just be normal controllers. So a huge misconception when people are playing or trying to DC hit is that they hold their controllers straight, like how they should normally, or they hold their controllers almost like weird, like this, fists, anything like that. So when you're trying to DC hit, what you want to do is you kind of want to have your controllers at an angle like this, almost like your palm is facing outwards. So when you hit, your controller will be like that when you are hitting back off of things. So when you are hitting, make sure instead of using like your whole arm and swinging, you try and use just your wrist. So with the flick of your wrist. And when you do that, what you want to do is you kind of want to keep your controller behind you for like a second. So if I'm going, you can see how my controller DCs. So instead of doing that, like looking back, when you do it, just look straight and keep your hand behind your back for a bit, for like a split second, and make sure instead of using your whole arm, you're just flicking your wrist like that when you're hitting hard. You have to do this for both arms in order to DC. So when you're doing that, you're just gonna, and like that, my controller will DC. So a good place to practice when you start is right here, when you can jump from just here and DC back right there. You can practice that so you can get consistent with both hands. Once you're consistent with both hands, when you try and branch anywhere, like let's say it's not just high branches, when you're hitting down, it's just the same thing. You kind of keep your palm like this and you're hitting downwards. So make sure that when you are actually trying to DC, instead of like, soft baby hits, you're actually like flicking your wrist. Every time I flick my wrist just a little like that, and like I'm doing my normal hit, you see how my controller will DC. Alright, so when we're right here, I'll show you the differences of what you can do wrong. So basically what you're doing is you're just hitting like that backwards. You're hitting like that backwards. Remember, just a small flick of the wrist. Here, when you're doing it, make sure you don't swing with your whole arm. Because if you swing with your whole arm, it'll be so much harder, more tiring. If you just keep it nice and simple, hit your wrist back, DCing will be so much easier than just swinging your whole arm. So make sure when you're trying to DC, you're just keeping your palm like this, and when you're hitting back, your arm should be like that, like you're hitting away. But make sure you just flick that wrist. That way, your controller will DC easier, it'll be less tiring, and you won't hurt your elbow as much. With that is probably the most in-depth tutorial I can give you on how you DC branch, but make sure you're doing it correctly and following the steps. I would not recommend trying to DC branch for Steam players or any player who plays a different headset other than Quests, because it is a lot harder and it's a lot more different because of your headset's base stations. But for Quest players, I'd recommend just try and go off that tutorial I just showed and do your best. Thank you for watching.